Can I help you? Take your hand off. Yeah. Hello, my name is Scott Rogers. Today we're going to be covering the Kyusho Jitsu pressure point aspect of self-defense. Self-defense we're dividing into two sections. One is simple attacks, one is complex attacks. Simple attack is defined as a grabbing attack, something with limited motion, such as a wrist grab or a choke from behind. Complex attacks would fall into the category of pushing and punching and throwing. So basically we're going to start with the simple attacks. We're going to illustrate the different points and we're going to show how they're used in combination. You want to make sure that you've watched the first two tapes in the series. This way you know exact locations and proper angles. We're going to cover them here, but we go into a little bit more detail on those. And remember that generally we're going to start with the arm points and we're going to work our way into the body. Generally when somebody's grabbing you, the danger is in the opposite arm, so we're going to be taking that into account as well. So we always want to be aware of what can strike us, not what's holding us. Somebody reaches out and grabs you, it may be uncomfortable, but they can't hurt you with this arm. It's the other arm that you always have to keep an eye on. So the first one we're going to do is what we call a same side wrist grab. Now that could be grabbing your wrist, grabbing your elbow, basically anywhere below the elbow. So when you practice with your partner, vary the grips because people are going to attack you in different ways. So we're going to start with that. We're going to bring John out as my assistant, and we're going to get started. We have John in padding today. Basically this way, as we hit the points, it starts to hurt a little bit. We want to also show a little bit more contact than we've been showing on the demonstration tapes. What we're going to have him do is reach out and grab. Now, you can just look off 1 second. First point we're going to use is what we call the mid-forearm point or the lung 6 point, which is halfway between the wrist and the elbow on the inside of the radius, right over here. Okay? So as he grabs, now, the first thing we're going to watch for is this arm. If he throws a punch, we're blocking the punch, of course. So basically, as soon as he steps up to grab, your eyes are on that arm. If he punches, we're going to block it and continue with our technique. Now, when we block the punch, we're going to be targeting the lung 5 point inside here. So as he grabs and punches, we're going to be hitting our first point already. This has numbed his arm, set up the next move. What we're going to do is we're going to take it from the point of view that he's not punching right now, and just know that when you practice, sometimes have your partner punch you and you block it out. We're going to go back to our first point, the lung 6 point. Your partner's going to grab. We are not going to move our feet. All we're going to do is rotate our hip in. We're going to keep our arm bent, and we're going to bump the arm. So that's our first release. Now, if this was a friendly situation, if somebody just grabbed you, you wanted to get out, you release, and that's more than enough. If it's a situation where you're in an alley somewhere and you feel that there's further danger, we're going to continue with the combination. So once we release, notice what's happening. We're hitting the arm's going backwards, and we're basically stretching out this area. So this is where we're going to come next. Part of the reason we're going low first also is this arm is down already. And instead of passing all these targets to go up high, we're going to keep his mind and his body occupied by striking the rib cluster, which on the Bob dummy, we can see it a little bit better, the 3 points in this region. As we strike it, we're going to be using hammer fist strike, coming in an upward angle, shooting across this way. And as we do that hammer fist, we're going to be stepping into it to get our body weight coming forward. The result of this should be his body coming forward and his chin coming up, which will allow us to finish with the palm to the stomach 5 point, this one right over here underneath, 45 degrees in and up. So as he grabs, right, we're just going to raise this a little bit. We're going to hit the arm point. We're not going to hit it hard. Now we're going to step in, strike to the rib point. Now, if you see his whole body crunched forward, bringing this arm slightly backwards, this arm still down, and we're going to finish with the jaw point coming up. If at any point the other arm started coming forward, this arm is now free to take care of it. So we're going to go through it slow. We do not step on the first move, because if we step on this one, we have no power for our next technique, and we don't need power on the first move. We also want it to be quick. We just get out nice and fast. So he's here, we're out. Our eyes are on that arm, because that one's flying away. That's the danger arm. We step into the rib. That shifts his body this way and makes this arm kind of go backwards. As that happens, the chin comes up, we strike to the jaw. At this point, you have a 99.99% chance of him passing out. If for any reason he didn't, the result of the palm to the jaw would be him taking a step backwards. Our all-purpose finishing move from this point, since we can't use our hands anymore, is to kick. And we're going to keep the kick simple. We're going to do a basic front kick learned in any style of martial arts, any self-defense course, and we're going to target it to the bladder points here. So as he's hurling back, we're going to put the kick in, which again should drop him, but if need be, it brings the head into line and sends the arms backwards. So the results of most of our strikes are going to be controlling his arms, not necessarily by hitting them, but by hitting one arm, we're causing his whole body to shift and controlling the other one. We kick him down low here, his arms go back and his head goes up. We're always exposing the next point and we're weakening the next point. So we're going to do it at a little bit of a faster pace. He's going to grab, 1, 2, 3, coming in. All right, we're going to do it from a different angle. All right, so again, we're striking the arm, stepping in, hitting the rib in an in and up manner, palming to the jaw. And as we palm to the jaw, this hand can come up. There's no reason to leave it locked down here. Bring it up. So as he comes in, 1, 2, 3. And if need be, he goes back. He didn't fall down. Follow with the kick and just continue going. When you practice, sometimes it's good to go past what you need to do. Done correctly, pressure points, even just doing 1, 2 without the padding, there's a good chance of dropping them. We follow with 3, we continue with 4. You practice 5, 6 moves. That prepares you for the fact that if maybe you miss something or something doesn't work your way, your body's trained to keep going. You want to get yourself into a routine that you do everything you need to do until the person goes to the ground. So basically, when he's on the ground is the only time that you're safe. Even if he's standing there and he can't breathe, he's leaning forward. If he's standing, he can move forward to hit you. So if he's on the ground, you're safe. 2 ways to get him on the ground: to knock him out or to sweep him or throw him to the ground. At either of those 2 points, that's a good time to run or to get out of the scene if possible. But if he's still standing and you turn to try and run or you try to get away, if he's not injured, he's going to come after you. He's going to catch you unaware. All right? So one last time, we're going to just switch the angle one more time. He's here. 1, 2, 3. And we're right underneath onto that point. When it comes to lower arm grabbing, really we only have 3 variations. He can grab me on the same side, which we just covered, or he could reach across and grab. Now, in practice, he's facing me this way, and this seems kind of like a funny way to grab. But imagine a situation where I was walking, and he just captured my arm this way. So this could kind of be like to stop me from where I'm going. From this position, what we're going to do is the first point we're using is the point in the wrist here. And we're going to use our index knuckle to roll to the outside. So I'm going to show it on the other hand so we can see the wristband. He grabs nice and tight. If I just try to lift his arm, he can resist, but when I cut this in, it makes his wrist bend, and it allows me to control his arm. So basically, he grabs me, and I grab him. From this position, if he was to punch, he cannot throw the punch. He can't punch across his body, and I could control him with one arm. So I've done 2 things here. I've gone from him grabbing me and being in control to grabbing him and being in control. I'm controlling his opposite arm from the punching, and if he tries to kick, I can just pull down and control his weight that way. So he basically cannot hit me. What I've also done is I've allowed myself the opportunity to strike him with no chance of him blocking because I'm on his blind side, and this would be the arm that he would most likely use to protect this area. So we're going to turn it the other way for this one while we do it slow. So as he grabs, again, the danger is here. If he was to punch right away, we would block it. If he punches as we're stepping, this hand is actually stopping it. So we're going to step in at a 45-degree angle, roll it, and we're going to lock the arm. We're going to place our hands, just move back a little bit, on his shoulder, and we're going to let our fingers slip into the collarbone region, which on the Bob dummy, we can see right over to here, either these points or this point, one of these 2. Basically, it just gives us a better grip, and it's going to control his body weight. So as we step in, we're here, we press down, and that kind of makes that happen. Now, in this position, he cannot punch and he cannot kick because his weight's on his legs. Now that he has all his weight on his legs, we want to take his leg out from him, and we're going to knee him into the leg point. If this is done strong, he's going to fall to the ground, so we're going to just motion it because we want to finish with the technique. As he starts to go down, we're going to palm him to that point in the back of the head, coming right into there, knocking him out. Keep in mind, you have a very, very good chance that as you do this move and you come here, this alone is going to take him right down. But if he doesn't go down, he's perfectly set up for this point back here. All right, so let's show it a little bit smoother. He's here, we step, we press, we knee, we palm, shooting in. Always on the blind side, always controlling the arm, always keeping him in a position where he cannot hit you or block. All right, let's try it from the opposite side. Let's do it this angle. Okay, so maybe I'm walking, he's grabbed my arm, I turn in, press in, knee him, and hit. Okay, we're going to proceed up the arm. We've done wrist grab, we've done opposite wrist grab. And again, that can be from the wrist to the elbow. Now we're going to work from the elbow to the shoulder region. So he could be just placing his hand on you, he could be grabbing your lapel, whatever. So as he comes in with the grab, we want to control him. The best way to control him and study the situation is to eagle claw the wrist points, which we covered in the first episode. We want to be on this point, and we squeeze it. From here, if he decides to pull his arm away, pull real hard. He can move my body, but he can't pull his arm away. So basically, I've attached him to me. What I've done here is I've eliminated this as a striking weapon. Now, most likely, if I grab him and start to hurt him here, he's going to punch me with the other hand. And that's why this hand is going to be right here to chop him into the lung 5 point that we covered earlier. So as I grab him here, if he punches, I'm going to chop him. If he doesn't punch, I'm going to continue to the same point on this arm, the same lung 5 point, and I'm going to take a small step backwards. What's going to happen here is the cross-extensor reflex action is going to kick in, making this arm fly backwards. I'm going to turn him sideways, put the weight on this leg, and expose his neck, just like that. He cannot kick me, he cannot hit me, he cannot block. From this position, I can continue with a controlling technique, but if I wanted to hurt him, I would take the same hand. I've chopped in, now I'm going to chop out, and I'm going to hit him to either this point or the point in the front, depending on how far he turns. We're going to use this one right now, and I'm going to turn him after. We're going to chop him into this point and follow up to the same exact point twice. So it's going to be like a 1-2 combination. So we're going to turn him this way. We're going to have him grab. If he should punch, we're going to deal with the punch by chopping out. When we block the punch, we're not really blocking. So when he punches, if you do this and he's got a strong punch, he's going to go through your arm and hit you. We are going in a straight line this way. So as he punches, we are chopping, and stopping his arm out. From here, we're going to step back, rolling the hand, like we covered, and chop the inside. We're going to put some weight on our legs so we have power. We've shifted back. Now we're going to shift in, either with an open hand or a closed fist. The result is the same. Strike in and just follow up the arm. By using his arm, I'm actually creating a track of where I want to hit. If I slide up his arm, I automatically end up in that spot. So even if I was fighting with him or defending against him and there was somebody else, I can use his arm as a guide to find where his neck is at all times. So I don't always have to be looking at it. So he's here, right? We deal with whatever punch is coming in, we stop it, we hit, and we palm. Now in a real situation, you don't have to wait for this to come into here. All right, so what we're going to do is as he grabs, we shoot right in. But again, in practice, if you do that with your partner, you have a very good chance of hitting him accidentally. So the best thing to do, if you notice the footwork, I stepped back, then I stepped in. And then I'll execute the chop slowly. But in real situation, you're actually going to catch him coming into you. And whether you hit the right spot or not the first time is irrelevant, because you're going to stun him here, and then you're going to follow with that well-placed blow coming next. But if all goes well, you've locked the wrist points, you've chopped the arm here, so you've already hit him on 3 points. Now you come back on this point, which brings him down. Now you're hitting him here and then following up to the same point just in case. Now with the step backwards, even through the arm padding, we're going to push and we'll bring it down. If he punches and we step back and do this properly, this is going to bring him down, allowing us to control him. So keep in mind that if you get really good at this, you're only going to get to step 1 of the move. And then from here you could follow with arm bars, whatever technique you like to do. So when you're doing a pressure point move or you're doing one of these self-defense techniques, don't skip past all of this. Don't go punch 1, 2, and then look for the headshots. Because really it's the mastery of the arm points that's going to put you in position. And if you do it well, this and this are just backups in case you make a mistake. The arm alone is sufficient to control him and bring him down. All right, so we've covered single grabbing applications. We've grabbed the wrist, grabbed the opposite wrist, we've grabbed the lapel, and that same thing, if John came in and actually was to choke with one hand, this is the same technique as if he grabs here. So basically any one-handed grab from the elbow up, we do the previous technique. Now we're going to work with a double grab. With a double grab, he's most likely going to grab your clothing, and he's going to have some strength to it, so he's grabbing you this way. What we're going to do is we're going to work the outside points, the large intestine 10 and 11 points on the forearm. Basically, it's in the split between these two muscles. And the purpose of these points are going to be to bend his knees, lift his chin, and bring his elbows to my ribs. So I'm going to take a small step back, hitting the points this way. As he comes forward, we're going to use the gallbladder cluster points, the one above the eye, the one above it, and the one here, in a double motion, slapping him back that way. And again, we would be using that same 1-2 motion where we would be hitting him as he comes forward. If he was a taller individual, right, I'm going to just sink down a little bit. If he was taller, instead of coming to these points, we would double up on the jaw points. So basically that's a height thing that you want to work with your partner. If your partner is taller than you, you shoot under the jaw. If your partner ends up lower than you, you come right to the forehead. In a real situation, basically you can see that when he's here, all I see is the forehead. The jaw is out of reach for me, so that's where I go. If we reversed it and he did it to me and hit both my arms, he would see jaw, and that's where he would go. So you won't really have to search for the points. You'll just know which one to hit because it's the most vulnerable point. That's a part of what we always try to do is hit what's closest, shortest distance, and most susceptible. When the head is stretched back, all of these points are being stretched off of the neck, and they're extra sensitive. So as he grabs, as we hit these points, there's some, just like off 1 second, I want to just show the angle. We're not coming in, and we're not coming down. If you hit them down, you're going to miss them because the points are on the outside of the arm. We're hitting them this way, almost like you want to hug yourself, like this. So if he was very weak or you were extremely powerful and you did it right, you would end up this way. But because both of his arms are there, you end up getting stuck in this position and reverse it. And you want to always breathe out when you do the move and step. And in. Now, we're always going to add that front kick afterwards, assuming that he doesn't fall. If we hit him in the forehead or we hit him in the jaw and he drops, great. If he doesn't, he's going to be starting to move away from us. If he comes in and he moves away, I've done this, I've hit him, I don't want to have to chase him to hit him again. So what all I'm going to do is my weight is already on the leg. I'm here, I've hit him. I can't use this foot because my weight's here already, but this foot is going to catch up to him nicely. Once his head comes down, we could take any of the points that we learned, we can throw him to the ground. We basically have our choice of what we want to do. In this position, if you even wanted to end with a nice knee smash, this is a good spot for that. So as he grabs, all right, we're going to just put the padding there. We're going to hit the outside arm points like we want to cross our arms, and we drop our weight. So we don't just step, we drop. So this way body weight comes in. We shoot, boom, and we catch as we come in. As soon as we do that, this is here. Finish off with a knee smash, finish off with a neck twist, push him to the ground. At that point, he should be very injured. All right, let's try it from the other side. Slight angle this way. Okay, so as he grabs, the arm points rolling in. And when you strike the arm points, you have two focuses. One can be the fist, and one can be the ulnar bone, this little bone here. So you could basically be hitting with the forearm or with the fist. It's kind of your choice. Practice both. Hit it down, strike out, and kick, and follow up. Okay, we're going to continue now with choking. Choking is a lot more dangerous than grabbing. The main reason being is if your partner chokes you in practice, this doesn't feel like all that much because he's not choking you, but if he digs in, it's very uncomfortable. When that happens, your mind is going to change. You're going to start to get nervous and you're going to start panicking. What we want to do is we want to prevent that from happening. So as soon as he starts to choke, basically the same area he's putting pressure on, you're going to put pressure on. We're going to use the fingertips, we're going to poke right into that area. So as he chokes with both hands, one arm's going to come up to his arm to control. We're not going to grab yet. This is going to poke in, which makes him move away. What that did was left this hand open, and he went from this distance to this distance. From there, we're going to use that point in the corner of the hand, the triple warmer 3-point, and we're going to put our thumb pressure onto that point, allowing us to help twist his wrist. We're going to use the wrist lock on that point to bring him to the ground. So as he goes down, we're going to pin him by dropping our knee onto the rib point. Boom. From here, we're going to switch hands. We can lock the elbow if we want. And using our thumb, we're going to go into the triple warmer point, twist it, and press it to the ground until he taps. Okay, the way to finish him off would be to strike to the same area with the palm of the fist, or you can strike the jaw with the palm as it's exposed here. If you just wanted to pin him and hold it there, you can do that also, and you have a nice controlling technique. So as he comes back up, we're going to show it from the opposite side. He's choking. If your hands are down and you poke, by the time you reach up to grab, this hand will no longer be there. So right away, somebody grabs you, no matter where they grab you, you want to grab them back. But we don't want to lock his arm tight because we want to let it move. So we just lay the palm across it. We poke, he goes back, we take the wrist, we put the thumb into here, we use both thumbs, we step back, and we bring him down. We put our knee onto his ribs. We switch and twist the arm. We have the elbow locked. He cannot punch you. He cannot kick you. He can't do anything. Now he starts to struggle. We use our thumb. We put it behind the jaw. And we pin his head to the ground. If his head doesn't touch the ground and you're here, he can wiggle out. So you want his head coming to the ground. And you use your weight. And if you want to finish him, palm into that point, back to front 45 degrees. Or if his head is up and you never did that point, palm right into the jaw that way. Okay, we're going to show it from the back angle. This way you can catch some of the finer points maybe you missed from one of the other angles. So he's going to choke, poke, spin him down, kneel. Switch hands and roll so the elbow's on your knee. Thumb goes in, pressure going down. Or palm strike going down. And if you like to grapple, this is a perfect position to step over and basically drop into the armbar nice and easy. Okay, I'm going to have him drop one arm. This way you can actually see what we're doing here. So this arm's dropped. Just imagine it's there. We're shooting up through the center under his line of sight. We're coming into the hole. And in a real situation, it's going to be quick. For now, we just press. Once we have the distance we need, we go for the wrist twist and continue from there. Okay, we're going to work from a side choking hold. The side choking hold is basically somebody has you down this way and they're cranking on your neck. It's uncomfortable, but to actually pass out from a hold like that is almost impossible. Basically, in order for a choke to be effective, both sides of the neck need to be constricted. So if we have him in a choking position this way, this arm chokes this side, this arm chokes that side, immediately he's going to tap. If we have him in a side headlock, we're really only putting pressure on one side. So while it's uncomfortable, you still have time to think and time to react. What we want to do, a lot of times the choke is on and people will see, hey, I could punch him in the groin area. In a sense, that's a bad tactic because if he's leaning forward and applying pressure and you hit him here, which way is he going to go? He's going to go forward more and squeeze you harder. And the worst thing that could happen is if he falls to his knees and takes you to the ground with him. So what we're looking to do is get him from this position to this position. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to strike the leg point right where the fingertip comes down, gallbladder 31. We're going to punch this one either with a fist or with our foreknuckles. And we're going to strike the kidney point, gallbladder 25. At the same time. Both of those points when struck cause his body to straighten out. Once his body straightens out and his head comes up, we're going to apply fingertip pressure rubbing on this point to stretch out his center line. And then we're going to use our hammer fist to hit the bladder points, the lower ones below the belly button, to bring him down to the ground. So it's going to look something like this. We're going to show it from this angle, then we'll turn so you get the fine points. As he grabs, you turn your chin in. By doing that, you relieve some of the pressure. You're going to find his knee, you find the side point, this point's going to form this hand, and we're going to hit it. Once that happens, you're pretty much out. Now you want to keep him from re-grabbing you. We're going to reach over and press. Now that he's all stretched, this is going to come in and drop him down to the ground. And in reality, you're going to hit it much harder, and he's going to basically stay there. So you're in position, 1, 2, 3. One thing you also want to do is when you go to hit him, your left foot, step a little bit wider. Otherwise, as you go to stretch him backwards, he may start to walk away and you lose your opportunity to finish him. Remember, once he grabbed you, he doesn't get away. You keep him close till you finish him. You don't want to knock him away and have to recapture him again. Right now, this is a simple attack. He's grabbing you. Everything you need to finish him off is there. If you let him create distance, now he comes back with punches. It requires a lot more skill to deal with. We're going to show it from the opposite angle, using the same hand, so from here. Okay, I'll turn it this way. Now just try to catch the back point. We're going to come into the leg, this point here, hit. Reach over, stretch. This leg is basically here so that if he starts to fall, you're here supporting his weight. He can't get away. And then we're going to pound down onto the belt, dropping him. Okay? Ready? Let's try it from this angle. All right, last one. All right, so he's here, we hit. I'm going to use the palm so I don't hurt him this time. Stretch and hammer, dropping him down. And when you throw that hammer to the ground, right in this area, 45 degrees, down and in. And at that point, if he's not out, you can finish him or get away. Okay, we're going to deal with the rear headlock. The rear headlock is somebody is behind you. A big part of self-defense is awareness, and if you allow somebody to get that close behind you, you weren't very aware of what was going on. So right away, you're working from a position of disadvantage. One thing that you have to prevent from happening is if the choke is being applied and you start to get pulled backwards, it's very difficult to get out of it. So basically, as soon as he goes to apply the choke, we want to drop our weight to prevent from being pulled backwards. So now he has the choke, but he can't bring me to this position where my body can't function. What I'm going to do immediately is with one of my feet, I'm going to try to stomp backwards on one of the leg points and elbow into the rib point, whichever arm is free. So he's choking, stomp, elbow. From here, my thumb is going to go into the heart 2 point to give me a good grip. And I'm going to turn into him. As I put the pressure, he starts to dip this way. I'm going to use the right arm and using the elbow, turn back, and I'm either going to hit him in the gallbladder 20 point or the point of my elbow is going to catch him behind the jaw. So it's going to be coming either this way or into this point like that. Both points are in the same spot, and either one that you hit will have the same function. So as he grabs, I'm going to breathe a little bit, pull down, strike, turn, elbow going across, just like that. Some reason, whatever happens, you hit him, he doesn't fall, we're going to shoot back under the jaw point with the palm. We always have extra options. So one more time. We're going to breathe, stomp, elbow, rotate in, strike, and back. All right, let's just try it from a different angle. Let's bring him this way. Okay, so we're going to breathe down, elbow into the rib using the point, stomp, rotate, keep the thumb pressure in here, elbow across, palm shooting up. The most important part of this technique is breathing so that you have time to think, dropping your weight. The elbow, if you do it right, you can cause good effect. Mostly it's just a distraction technique on this side to allow you to spin to this side. So don't spend too much time on it. And when you do the elbow, if your arm is here, you're hitting him low on his stomach. We don't want to go near the muscle, so we raise the arm. This way the point of the elbow catches him into the rib. Most likely somebody that does this technique on you is going to be taller. So if I'm doing it to John and I have him here, if he elbows and he's loose, he's hitting my stomach right now and my hip. But if he keeps a tight, high elbow as he comes in, he's coming in towards the rib point. So when you throw the elbow, instead of throwing it this way, throw it this way, almost like a karate chamber. Throw it back. This way the point digs in, most likely catching these points or that corner point there. Okay, what we're going to cover now, we went from the basic grabs, basic strangling techniques. We're going to do double arm grabs like bear hugs and rear bear hugs. First one we're going to do is a common attack in women's self-defense situation where a person's going to come up and grab under the arms and squeeze nice and tight. Right now we're very close. He's got a lot of strength. If you try to striking maneuver, you might not get the right leverage that you need. So we need to create some distance and put a little pain into him. We're going to come to this point here, Governor Vessel 26. We're going to rub, which sets him back. As soon as he sets back, if you'll notice, I've pinched this arm. So I don't want him going too far back. I'm controlling him. So as he grabs, we bring him back and we pinch. Immediately, we palm to the jaw. After the strike, we're going to hold. We're going to step through, and if this was a real situation, I'd want to dig my heel into the bladder points on the calf, 56, 57, 58, right at the top of the calf muscle. That would paralyze the calf muscle. For practice, we're just going to go through. So he's going to grab, we rub the point, we strike right away. We lock here, we lock the arm. We step, we bring him down. From this position, I'm applying pressure to that rub point on the back of the arm. So right from here, if I just rub my arm, I have the lock. I let the knee drop in, right, either on the kidney points or the liver point, and I apply the lock. And I have him controlled here. At any point, I could finish with a strike to the rib points or to the head of the neck points. So what we're using, we're releasing with this point, we're trapping the arm, we're striking the jaw point, we're taking him down and we're using the top of the calf point, either this one or this one, digging in with the heel, and then we're rubbing the back of the arm point 1 inch above the elbow to get the submission, and if we finish with a strike, it could be to the jaw or to the ribs. So one more time, he's going to grab, release, hit. Step, lock the arm, rub, and the knee is in, and you have him down. Let's catch it from another side. This way you can watch the trapping better. He grabs, he's arching your back, rub, hit. This is gonna pinch. So you don't grab it, you just pinch it under your armpit. You step behind, we would be kicking with the heel, but we're not gonna do that because we don't wanna hurt him, so we're gonna go through. Drop him, we go down with him. If you stood straight and held the arm would break before he hit the floor. From here, I grab with my other hand and I rotate my wrist to give me the rubbing effect. This way, and we have him there. From here, any type of resistance, we follow up here, follow up under the cheekbone. We could even trap him the same way as we did before, strike to the ribs. Basically, any of the points that we've done so far. Okay, let's come back up. All right, we're gonna go to a similar attack, but this time, instead of him being in front, he's gonna grab from a rear position, trying to maybe pick you up and drag you away or whatever he's doing. We're going to use the point in the back of the hand, the triple warmer 3-point, and we're going to use that to break his grip. So as he's squeezing, we can't break his grip. We're going to take our middle knuckle and dig in. And you see he wants to let go. What he also gives us is fingers. We're going to turn our hand over and grab the fingers like we're shaking his hand. We're going to turn to him, and let's just turn this way a little bit. This is going to keep pressure on the inside of the arm. This is going to press, and we're going to bring him to here. All right, once we have him in this position, and we're going to turn and show the point, we're going to hit behind the jaw with our punching motion from back to front, finishing him that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it from this angle. This way we could catch the jaw point. We're going to lock into this point. We're going to take the fingers. We're going to press down and we're going to pull this in, bringing him down to his knees. We're going to step around and we're going to punch behind the jaw from back to front. All right, we're going to just show it from another angle. We're going to dig the knuckle in. We release the hand, turn over, shake his hand, rotate, keeping this contact here. This is going to rub in, this presses down, we drop him. So we're using the fingers and the elbow to bring him down. We release this hand, but we maintain control here. We punch him back to front of the jaw. For some reason, if he didn't fall, we have the gallbladder point in the back of the head, we just come back with the palm. And if you like to grapple, that's one of your strong points. If you have the hand trapped, this arm just has to lift. And you have a shoulder lock. Now we can lock him coming back this way. Okay, the next one that we're going to do is going to involve a bear hug around the arms from the rear. So as he comes in and he grabs, we're going to turn this way. He's going to be trapping the arms this time, which limits your ability to counterattack. The one thing you have to try to prevent from happening is just lift me up a little. Is him lifting you up, because if you're in the air, now you have very little. Two things you're going to do immediately is stomp towards the foot and swing your head backwards. Even though the nose and eye area is not exactly a pressure point, we're going to stun him long enough to allow us to finish our technique. The next thing you're going to do is pray. Hands are going to go together. We're going to point to the ceiling. And we're going to lift up this way. Once we're in this position, we don't want him choking us, so we lock the wrist. We lift the arm up, and we're just going to bow forward, rotate. We're going to pin again. From here, we swing to the opposite side like in previous techniques, locking the arm. And we follow up either with thumb pressure or with the striking. Another thing we can follow up with is to lift up and stomp behind the ear or stomp into the rib points. So if you want to continue with the legs. The only disadvantage in that is you have to stand on one leg, and if he rolls into you, you may be compromising your balance. So let's do that one more time. We'll show it from the same angle, because all right, as he grabs, stomp, headbutt back, drop down and pray. Make sure you drop low. Grab, roll him, pin. Lock the arm. Now either pin him behind the jaw, strike him to the jaw or the behind the ear point, or grab with both hands and put the heel in behind the jaw, or put the heel into the rib. Okay, the last thing we're going to cover is some basic pushes. When we go into the moving attacks, we're going to learn how to avoid them entirely. But at a beginning level, or with reflexes not being as good, a lot of times the person's going to push you and they're going to make contact before you have a chance to knock the arm away. What they're trying to do is, as the push comes in, they want to knock you off balance so that they could come in and punch you with the other hand. That's pretty much the idea behind pushing, is to set the distance, keep you back on your heels, take your balance. Now, what helps him do that is, as he pushes, the tendency is to resist. As I resist, it gives him something more to push off of, and he really throws you off balance. So what we want to do is basically the simple judo concept is when he pushes, we're going to pull. So as he comes in with the push, we're just going to let it go. So now what actually happens is he thinks you're there, and when you pull away, he loses balance. Now, as he does that, the other hand is going to shoot up and strike him to the gallbladder 20 point, using either the thumb knuckle or the wrist bone straight in behind the head. So he comes in, he pushes, rotate. The third thing we're going to do, we're going to show this from the opposite angle, is trap the arm. So as he pushes, we're going to trap the arm, hopefully setting up points on the arm. You don't have to be specific on it. And this shoots in. So as he pushes, you relax, he pushes, trap and hit. Right from here now, you've hit him here, this arm is done, we're going to slide up and strike right into the jaw. So this will bring him forward to you. Hopefully it'll knock him out. If it doesn't, this is going to come up and finish him. And again, we're using the arm like a railroad track to find the jaw point. So you don't even have to look, and you're automatically going to be there. So he pushes, hit, slide up into the jaw point. Okay, the next one we're going to cover is the double push. Again, on the next series of videos, what we're going to do is when it comes in, we're going to look to avoid it. We don't want anybody touching us. But if he actually does make contact, we have a technique that can peel the arms off and put him in a position of advantage for us. So again, as he comes in with the push, the idea is to knock you off balance and then come in with a punch. So what we want to do is if he's pushing us, we want to trap his arm and pull him. So he wants to move me backwards, that's great. I'm going to bring him with me. Now, after I take my first step, I'm going to step to catch my balance. My next step, I'm going to be putting him in a double shoulder lock, which has a very good chance of dislocating both shoulders. So we're going to do it slow, bringing him down. I've also spread him out and exposed his entire central region. The two targets I'm going to pick are either going to be the solar plexus up and in towards the heart or the bladder points. And we're going to throw the kick in, either here or to the solar plexus. We're going to drop. We still have the arms. Hopefully he's fallen by now, but if he hasn't, the next best thing is his head. We're very slowly going to twist and bring him over down to the ground. You do it quick, he's going to go over. With this technique, be extra careful. Anytime you're working with the neck, a little too much and you can cause an injury or a whiplash. All right, so as he pushes, trap, step, twist. Kick, and twist. And we're going to finish just like that. So you're here, trap, step to catch your balance, bring him down, kick to the center, holding him there, and finish with the neck in the center. Just like you're turning a steering wheel. Turn it over. So it's going to show it one more time. He pushes, bring him down, kick, twist. Okay, there's a two-step drill we're going to do now that if you want to get good at pressure points, it's very good to practice. The first one is the arm drill. We've actually covered that on previous videos. The second one is attacking the head or the body points. So sometimes instead of worrying about locking the wrist or pulling the arm, we're just going to go right for the head. The first one is the arm drill. We've done it before. Basically what's going to happen is he's going to grab and we just want to get out. He grabs somewhere else. We get out. He grabs a different spot. We hit maybe a different point. He grabs another spot. We hit it. He grabs with two hands. We hit both arm points. So you just get used to that. When the hand comes at you, something comes down. This is step one. Step two now is as he grabs wherever. We strike a body or a head point. So from here, I shoot under the jaw. He grabs somewhere else. From here, I shoot into the rib point. He grabs somewhere else. I shoot into the throat point. He grabs somewhere else. I shoot up under both jaws. So now what we've done is we've built a reflex that when he grabs, we just go right for the kill. The second drill is really where you want to be at, and that's a combination of the two. He grabs somewhere, hit, hit. He grabs somewhere else, hit, hit. He grabs somewhere else, hit, hit. He grabs somewhere else, hit, hit. And basically you're learning now to target arm, body, arm, head, and you're working from one to the other. So certain techniques are better than others, and the ones we've presented are excellent to practice. The idea is to be able to work reflexively, where if somebody grabs you, you hit the arm, and now you say to yourself, where do I go? It really doesn't matter as long as you're on a point. You want to come up and hit a point this way, hit a point this way. Strike, strike. As long as you're on point, you're connecting, you're going to do damage. When you practice the techniques we presented them in such a way that we're taking advantage of body reaction, meaning that we know that when we hit this and we hit this, he's going to come forward, so this fits in perfectly. And every time you do it, you're going to find the reaction is the same. Sometimes maybe if you're caught by surprise, maybe if he grabs you in a way, something like this, we haven't practiced this angle, so we pick a point, boom. I hit another point, boom, just like that. That's something we haven't practiced, but I knew that when he grabbed, I'm going to hit an arm point. His body turned. I was exposed to the back of the head and the kidney point, and I chose to hit this one. Okay? Working these drills is going to be essential to getting you comfortable to hitting the points in motion. Now, he's using padding basically because the points hurt. I recommend that you use padding, but at first when you learn them, find the points, touch them lightly, make sure you're getting the reaction. Once you get comfortable with them, you let him roll his sleeve down, and you still hit them. If you're still hitting them then you could put the pad on and put a little bit of power into it. Remember, power is not essential. It's angle, direction, and precision. So it's about being smarter, not being stronger. We're going to be demonstrating one of our instant knockout shots. Where we're going to be targeting is the stomach 9 point in the side of the neck. And what we're going to be using is our forearm. The reason for using the forearm is with little training, the swing of the forearm is a very powerful blow, and it doesn't have to be as focused as, let's say, using the edge of the hand or even the fingers or a punching technique. With this motion, this could come after blocking a punch, this could come off of a grabbing. For his safety, we're just going to demonstrate it off him grabbing. This way, we minimize the motion and nobody gets injured. So we're going to have John grab nice and tight. We're going to focus on this point. We're going to use the forearm. Stop. And we're going to bring him right down. All right, once we maintain grappling position, both arms are in position to strike him. So rather than bringing him to the ground with a throw, we're actually going to do a knockout technique involving the area around the temple, which are some points that we haven't really covered. We're going to slap. We have the temple, the corner of the eye, and the bridge of the eyebrow, which forms a nice big circle that's just going to get slapped. And on the other side, we're going to use the ridge hand to strike gallbladder 20. From grappling position, as we're searching for a move, this hand is free to strike here. This hand is free to strike here. So what we're going to do is we're going to lock up, we're going to bring him down, and we're going to show the basic knockout. And he's going to drop. Okay, the last point on the shoulder region is exactly at the apex of the trapezius muscle. So basically, we divide his neck and his shoulder in half this way, and we divide it in half this way. And this is where we're going. And we could actually press it and get some effect. Because this is a big muscle, the muscle actually protects and the point lies underneath it. So generally, we want to strike it inward this way or using our forearm. If he was coming forward, like to shoot to do the takedown, we would actually use our forearms on this point to stop him. Because of the angle, we may not knock him out, but what we'll do is stop his motion, which will allow us to set up something else. What we're going to do is just show this point the effect of it. We're going to have him throw a punch, we're going to block it, and we're just going to put some downward pressure. And the thing to watch for is his legs. Watch where his legs go. So as he comes in, we come down, and we drop him down. Okay, as previously explained, the more pressure points you hit, the more damage that you do. So if he were to grab me in a real situation, I would be using one of the arm points, one of the body points, or one of the leg points before I came to the jaw point. What that would do is it would make it actually weaker. But what I want to actually just show you is how, with no setup at all, this one point becomes very sensitive. So as he grabs, we're just going to come from this position. I'm going to go slow so I don't injure him. We're going to come up in the up and out direction. I'm going to have him bite down real tight so he doesn't hurt his teeth. All right, so we're going to look straight. He's grabbing. We're not going to use a setup. We're going to come in, and it's going to bring him down. We sit him up. We have a special revival that we use to wake him back up a little. All right. Okay, at this point I'd like to go over the proper revival techniques. The purpose of the revival techniques is to wake your partner up if you do a knockout, but most importantly it's to make sure that he doesn't have any adverse effects. What can generally happen if you knock somebody out, they will wake up on their own, they won't just stay asleep forever, but when they wake up they're going to have headaches, their stomach's going to hurt, they're just going to feel almost like they have a hangover. With the proper revival, you're restoring energy, basically that you took away with the strike, and you eliminate that effect. The first type of revival is what we call arm revival. Basically, any of the arm points that we strike. When you strike it, what we're going to do is we're going to actually stop energy to that point. So we hit it, the arm goes to sleep. Now, he's feeling a pulsing right now. That hurts. The way we wake it up is we hit the exact same point with an open palm with approximately half the power with a slap. And then we massage the area. And we repeat that. Slap and massage it. And after you do that, he should have full use of his hand again. So the arm revival is basically simple. Whatever you hit, you hit it again, but you hit it with half the force, and instead of hitting it with a focused area, we hit it with a flat palm, and we just massage the area. Flat palm, massage the area. And that'll bring your partner's arm back. This way, when you're training, you hit those points, you can practice it more than once. As far as the head, the neck, the body, we do a technique like we did. We strike, he falls down. All right, he'll tend to just be laying down, basically. The first thing we want to do is we want to sit him up. So we grab him by the head. Okay, now if he's really out, he won't fold his own legs, so you're going to fold his legs. We want to keep our knee in the base of his spine. We want to keep our hand on his head. Now, if we struck him on this side, we want to revive on this side. If we struck him on this side, we revive on this side. Where we're going to be reviving is right next to the spinal cord. There's something called the bladder meridian. I'm going to show it on myself, actually. Not over here, a little bit over, right in this line. This is called the wake-up nerve. Similar to the arm points, we're going to slap it and massage. Slap it and massage. At this point, he should be awake. He may still feel groggy, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our thumb and forefinger, we're going to place it at the base of his back with the spine running in the center, and we're going to run our hand up his spine a couple of times. In Chinese medicine, they say all energy in the body is stored in the kidney region. And when you do this, according to the theory, you're bringing the energy back up into the head. Medically, most likely, you're just stimulating the nerves that go into the neck and head area, and it's waking him up. But either way, the function is what matters, not what causes it. After you finish that, to restore more energy, we're going to start with the hands. Again, in acupuncture and Chinese medicine, each finger controls a different part of the body. So, for example, the pinky finger is considered the heart. The ring finger is considered what they call the pericardium. The index finger is the large intestine. So what you're going to do is you're going to pinch, starting at the pinky finger, and pull. Pinch, pull. You should feel like a popping sensation. If anybody ever got a Chinese massage before, this is what they do. They massage the points. They pop the fingers. And what that does is it wakes up and stimulates all of the nerves. And that covers the revivals. Okay, and remember, when in doubt, practice slowly. If at all possible, try to practice under an instructor with the proper guidance. If you can, if you're working out at home, you're working with somebody, everything nice and slow. Do the minimum you need to do to cause an effect. Once they let go of you, once they move back a little bit, that's all that's necessary. You know the technique's not going to work. If you want to work on your power, there's target work. You could practice with the bob dummy. It's excellent to work on the points. You release your power on the target, but when you're working with your partner, everything nice and light. The goal is to get more accurate and more precise, not to learn to hit harder. So as you get better with a point, instead of having to swing, maybe start an inch from the point and try to touch it and make them let go. If you're only moving an inch and they're letting go, when you release your power into it, you're going to be a lot more effective. And you're also going to be easier on your partner, which will allow you to get more training time in. So always be nice to your partner, because without him, you cannot train.